something that the state NRLMs and the NRLM itself can be that beacon of hope. With Selco's whole 2.5 decades of work, where the whole philosophy for us was that poverty eradication has to be done in a sustainable manner, in a manner that is resilient, in a manner that we create safety nets for the poor, that any crisis of any sort will not push them back into poverty, abject poverty. I mean, the way we define poverty is like abject poverty, poor and very poor and poor, and then the lower middle class. How do we create safety nets in all these categories so that any crisis doesn't push back? Because any one layer that they are pushed back, it takes at least 5 to 8 or 10 years to get back to the next level. That means re-looking at financial resources, human resources. While COVID-19 is challenging whole of humanity, while the most of the developed countries like the United States, Italy, France are on their knees. 6 million Americans have lost their job in the last 2 weeks. Multiple millions of Italians and French have lost their jobs. So it's not that everybody was boasting and bragging. We've had the best healthcare. They had the best. Have actually not been able to match to what the virus has been able to do. So the challenges for India, these are the countries like Italy, France were kneeling. We have proven that because of the way we have handled crises, the way we have handled things before, there is a ray of hope that a country like us can showcase. And especially for livelihoods, as soon as the crisis bit softens, livelihood is going to be critical issue for us. And it's great honor that both of you have taken a very precious time during these to spend some time with that context. And Selco's push, even if the crisis would not have happened, is how do we make sure livelihoods can play a role? And just one more statement to Balamuruganji and Mamtaji is that unfortunately Selco was always known for solar, but for us solar was just a enabler. And it's just an enabler, because end goal for us was decent, honest livelihoods, better health services, better services for education. And so end goal was more important, and solar was just a medium for it. It's the importance is not on solar panels and batteries, but the importance is, are people getting decent livelihoods in a sustainable manner? Are people getting health services? So that's where our push has been. And so that's exactly why we wanted to talk to you. And is there a way that we could, in any small manner, uh, play, a, play a role, not now, but including now for the next 5-10 years, that the nation will look at this in a manner that can be replicated. So with that, can I invite Mr. Balamurugan from, and who is the head of the Bihar Rural Livelihood Mission. So over to you with that context, your remarks, and then we'll go into this question answer session.
Yeah. Good afternoon to everyone, and thank you, Harishji and Amol, for having me in this webinar. It's going to be a very quick one, as I have some meeting which is which came in an unscheduled way, as we are also engaged in COVID-19 work. So I'll restrict myself to what we are doing as SRLM during this COVID crisis, and what we can do together. Brief 1 minute introduction about my organization. It's SRLM, State Rural Livelihood Mission. We call it as Jivika in Bihar. It was started in 2006. We have right now close to 1 million groups. It's almost 9.25, 9,25,000 groups, and then 10 million women are part of. Close to 1 crore, 9 lakh households are part of this organization. It's more than a decade-old organization. Our strength is the initial IBCB, institution building, capacity building, and also financial inclusion. And then slowly we branched. Of course, livelihood is integral part of the mission. But initially we, given focus on IBCB. Without that, nothing can move forward. In livelihood mission, the core work is IBCB institution building, capacity building. It will remain so. And then we started working on livelihood. We work in agriculture, livestock, skills, and then non-farm. We call it as art and craft. It's a very clear-cut thematic areas. Agri is the major important area wherein by which you touch so many lakhs of families. Our focus is inclusion of poorest of the poor. So that's a brief introduction about our organization. We implement NRLM and also our own World Bank funded project. We call it as Bihar Transformative Development Project. So, and then we have partners in so many organizations like BMGF, and then TERI. We have IIT Mumbai. So many of them are our partners, because without partners, Pradhan, UNICEF, we have so many of them. Without that, it's not possible to work with one poor families. Our important strength is our community resource persons. Coming back to COVID, what we are doing, and we have taken up IEC activity through our groups. So what we did, we distributed close to 1 million pamphlets regarding COVID. It was in the initial stage. When COVID started in the month of March itself, we decided to do this IEC activity brief about COVID. After taking consent from health department, that pamphlet was distributed, and it's an ongoing process. We could able to train our community resource persons quickly so that they can explain this to community members. That is number one. Number two, when the crisis started happening in a big way, and then when the lockdown was announced, we started producing masks also. So far, it's again a livelihood activities and also a social responsibility for the livelihood mission. So close to 8 lakh mask has been produced by Jivika members, and we have a problem of raw material. We've overcome most of the issues, and then the production is going on. And then third is our members are actively supporting this community surveillance aspect of quarantine and other issues at village level and also district level, both staff and then community resource persons. And apart from all these things, one of the major decisions we have taken is we have a fund called Health Risk Fund and also a Food Security Fund. Because of this lockdown, so many poor families whose only livelihood is daily labor, so they will be getting affected. So we had a fund already that's called Food Security Fund at village organization level and also Health Risk Fund. But that fund was not available. We have around 60,000 village organizations. Each village organization consists of around 15 to 16, around 20 SHGs. Average is 15. In some cases it is 20, in some cases 12. That fund is available for poor households at some interest. Food Security Fund is not with interest. It's a service charge that goes to village organization. 50 paise per 100 rupees. So what we decided, for next 3 months, starting from March, April, May, and we may extend it, the members are not being asked to pay any service charge. It's in this sense, it's a loan. We are not giving any grant. It is available for interest-free loan. Same way, HRF, Health Risk Fund, is also given. It was given at the rate of 12%, 1 rupee per month. That is also being given. Put together, this fund is around 468 crore rupees. It's a good amount of money. And also we are trying to provide the same fund to other VOs which are not having this fund on priority basis. That work is going on. So 60,000 village organizations. That way another 200 crores will be flowing to VOs. We are trying to arrange funds for that. This is a substantial amount, and that will definitely, and then this is started happening, and there are so many village organizations actively started distributing this fund to poorest of the poor households. They are taking loan, and then they are taking grains. Even for national food security also, they need some money. They are taking loan. Coming to other aspect, apart from this fund, village organization and cluster level federation is having around 4,000 crores of corpus, accumulated corpus, which has been given as a grant to this organization by government and also their own earnings. It's around 4,000 crores. That is also available as loan for members with interest. We have made it interest free for next 3 months. That is also available for members at interest free. These are all the big decisions we have taken. And there's one more program called, it's a graduation approach program. We call it as Satat Jivikarpan Yojana. That program is, it's a unique in Jivika, and no SRLM is doing it, and some SRLMs are doing it, but the numbers are less. There's a graduation approach, how to graduate poorest of the poor households to a next level. So we have a target of 1 lakh families. It's a state-sponsored program. We have partnership in Bandhan, and then other co-impact from US is also helping us. World Bank is, of course, one of the major partners. Where also we have taken a decision. We have already identified around 75,000 households. They are, in the sense, extremely poor. They are living like that for many years, though you have so many programs intended to help them from government. But the crucial aspect of coaching and then handholding support for a longer period is missing in any one of the programs. This is what precisely this program is doing. So they're all given with 2,000 rupees immediate assistance to tide over this COVID period. So these are all the immediate steps we have taken. Of course, long-term way, this hygiene promotion is going to be one of the major agenda. This is a time because everyone is talking about hand washing. Everyone is talking about, keeping clean and then keeping distance. This is a time to catch them. And then we developed some modules also with the help of BMGF and then World Bank and also State Health Department. Virtual training modules we have already developed, and then that virtual training is, we are giving that training to our resource persons. That will be rolled out without waiting for COVID to end. That will happen in a very dispersed way, keeping in mind the social distance which we need to maintain. But that is the area we will be focusing on in health, nutrition, and sanitation theme for next 6 months, because catching them at this point in time will help us in reinforcing these hygiene aspects. Apart from that, livelihood, as you spoke, is very important. And in fact, I had a meeting, the same Zoom call meeting with my team. This, when we are promoting hygiene, this hand washing, this use of sanitizers, availability of affordable sanitizers is also going to be one of the opportunity for cluster level presentations and also individual entrepreneurs who can be supported by SRLM. So they can take up these kind of activities also. In future, these are all going to be some of the areas of opportunity that we are also going to concentrate on those things. And then apart from that, we will be focusing on existing livelihood programs. We have livelihood programs, as I mentioned, in value chain programs in agriculture. Apart from productivity enhancement measures, we have GoTree, big GoTree program in livestock team, and we'll be taking up dairy also. And skills, of course, we need to wait and watch how things are going to unfold in the industrial area, because this COVID is going to have a long-term impact. So some of the aspects are related to COVID, immediate response, and then long-term aspect. And then we are also working in energy. You must be knowing, Selco knows about it. We have partnership with the Ministry of Renewable Energy, and then IIT Mumbai also. This million lamps program, we could able to assemble and distribute more than 2 million solar lamps. That helped in identifying clusters of solar cluster, where we could able to develop train DDs who can, apart from assembly, do repairing and maintenance. And then once that is done, we have identified some more DDs who are having the appetite to start enterprises, solar enterprises. More than 100 enterprises are already running. So we are in the process of developing those enterprises as clusters, not for solar enterprises. There we have huge opportunity, and also we are in the process of setting up one solar panel manufacturing unit that is again owned by women. So there is a huge possibility of enterprises around solar energy. Also, we are already doing it, and then there's a huge scope. Of course, we also worked in promoting solar energy among Jivika women by giving them this solar stoves and also home lighting system. That aspect also open, and then there's a huge potential. I just want to stop it here, and then I'll be happy to listen from my other colleague and also from other members who are going to speak today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for this description on what you're trying to do. So now I just hand it over to, you have some time with us, right, for the next half an hour, sir? Or what time do you have to go?
I have another 15 minutes. I would like to listen to my other colleague from Karnataka, and then
yes, sure, sir. Okay, ma'am, over to you. Similarly, yes, it's a challenging times, ma'am, and my team has been interacting with you, and it's something that, and as you know, Selco has been based in Karnataka for 2.5 decades. It's something that we love to have some sort of what role we could play. But before that, a briefing from you would be great.
Good evening, everybody. And I'm sure all of us have just taken time off to be here. And everybody has some very important work to do. COVID has sort of taken us back to our roots. And when we say going back to our roots, all those good habits of hygiene, which we practiced ages ago, which we lost over the years, has to be picked up now. Okay, why am I talking about habits when I should be talking about other things which SRLM is doing? Because most SRLM are doing similar things, and Balamurgan has very well, very comprehensively, very vividly explained to everybody what we are doing in various SRLMs. So COVID has now taken us back to our roots. It has given us quite some time to think about what we should be doing in future. We have 1,68,000 groups in Karnataka, that around 11 million women. Most of them are into some livelihood or the other, because livelihood is a core of our activities. But we had to, most of the livelihood had to, an abrupt kind of a pause. We are in a situation of suspended animation right now in our livelihood. So what we did in SRLM over the last, say, 20 days is we relooked at what are the needs in the community. SRLM is in most of the districts have been doing the awareness creation, creating a kind of warriors called COVID warriors, who are educating people about the do's and don'ts during COVID, keeping track on people on isolation and people who are supposed to be quarantined, taking care of their needs, but also watching that they don't come out of their homes. They're also, we got into, in a very big way, we thought, what is the need, the biggest need right now for people? we thought it was masks, because masks are going at 250 rupees. The one which sells at 10 rupees is going at 250 rupees. And with that kind of a money, ordinary people cannot wear a mask, and mask is the most important thing right now. So around 350 to 400 groups all over Karnataka have got into mask making, and most of them are working in close cooperation and close collaboration with the district administration. So most of the orders for these masks are coming from district administration themselves. So what did we do? We created a YouTube kind of a YouTube training for these women from the health department about the scientific way of making the masks, how the mask should be sanitized once they make it, how to pack it. And these masks are being supplied mostly to all the government offices, including health department. Till date, we have made over 3 lakh masks in around 15-20 days. Then the second thing we looked at is making sanitizers. See, in the rural areas, sanitizer is something that they've not heard of. So we had to get these people into sanitizer making. So we made ethanol available to these women from most of the sugar factories. This ethanol was made available to these women at a subsidized rates, so that they could use those in making sanitizers. And these sanitizers again are being used, being sold locally and to government district administration. So these are the 2 activities, including soap making. These are the 3 activities that we got into in a very big way in livelihood during this COVID. The 4th thing that we have done is community kitchens. Most places, district administration needed to feed people who are stranded, people who are homeless, people who are in the need of food. And we started something called a COVID war room, which is a helpline in every district run by SRLM. And we have been taking calls, identifying the need where the people have to go. We've also been identifying NGOs, corporate partners. And so we have around almost 1 lakh corporate partners listed among us. And we are able to channelize them towards that place where a person is stranded or groups are stranded, where people need shelter or people need food. This is being done through SRLM. So these are the activities that we have been doing over the last few days. Now, what do we see as future? As I told you, health and hygiene is the number 1 thing on our mind right now. So a lot of on YouTube videos have been made by the health department to train women into health and hygiene. So these YouTube videos are available on a mobile app, which can be downloaded, and they can see how to make a mask at home, how to use various health and hygiene products. What are the various good habits to have? And how do they take care of the hygiene of their family? This is happening while the lockdown is in force. Now, what do we see in future? In the next few days, in the coming months, I don't see for the next at least 2 months, people having the energy or the thing to get out of their homes or their comfort zones. So we are looking at making solar lights, which we found very useful during these months, COVID month in various rural areas. So we are looking at making community-based solar lights. So training for that is something that we are looking at. We are looking at value addition to agriculture products. we have already identified partners for vegetables, for vending. I mean, to we are pushing backyard poultry and vegetable gardens for every woman. So certain amount of seeds and other equipments are being given free to these women to be able to do a backyard kitchen garden. And this vegetables for their own personal use, plus whatever they can sell, we have identified an organic vegetable super
Bunker.
chain, organic super chain, which will now collect these vegetables from various places, pick up points, and will be able to market it in bigger super chain markets. So this is the line of thing that we're thinking. We're looking at only low-hanging fruits. We are not looking at very big things. Food, instant food for cities, masala and other food products. We're looking at lights. We're looking at these masks. We'll continue to make masks. We'll continue to make sanitizers, wash products. We are now, government is now giving orders from all hostels, from all government offices for mask making and sanitizers to these women, to most of the women. So we're trying to put more and more women into this activity of wash and health and hygiene products. And we're also looking at online markets. We have now almost in the final stage of our development of a e-commerce platform, which will piggy bank on Amazon, Flipkart, and Gem and other partner and other online e-markets. Plus, on Facebook, we're in talks with Facebook to have these online markets. So what we'll try to do is we'll channelize whatever existing. See, we have we have around almost 10,000 micro entrepreneurs in different activities, and then plus SHG who are into garments, SHGs who are into food and hygiene. We are looking at veg. See, now we find that another thing which we found during the COVID is a lot of farm produce are being wasted. Fruits, vegetables, which are they're just throwing them because they can't market them. So we are looking at helping SHGs set up cold chain and value addition of various vegetables, whether it's tomato pulping or these kind of value addition for vegetables, which our women can do, and to be able to the forward linkages of the various markets. That is what we are looking at. Hopcoms, which is a government horticulture produce cooperative, has come forward to buy it from the SHGs. So we are already into talks, and our annual action plan, which we've put together, a lot of changes has to be made now to be able to get in all these things in, and so that planning is already going on, and our government is now going to support self-help groups in a very big way to set up various things which the community requires. Finally, I would say we are now going back to the Gandhian way, where we have to find and ensure that the villages become self-sustaining. That is what. So we will be converging and collaborating with various other departments, including MSME and RDPR activities, so that we have a self-sustained village, and we'll ensure that even meetings, even our SHG meetings, we are trying to do it online now for at least for a few months, so that they get into the habit of using this. And digital banking is another thing which we are pushing our women into, or the digital payment platforms is what we are getting our women into. So these are the various things which we have already made already in the pipeline. I think I've given you enough of dope on what we are doing, and I'd like to now open myself to any questions or any other discussions, any other person speaking, any discussions. I'd like to open myself to those things. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for so elaborately telling us the future. We know, I mean, the job that yourself and uh, Balmurugan ji is doing. It's always a thankless job because it's always about and that's, I'm glad that you're speaking to a lot of my colleagues who are at the younger generation. I want them to listen to the elaborate planning and process that each of the NRLMs and yourself in these positions do and implement. It's a daunting task, and people need to realize it's a daunting task, and it's not something that with so much the population that we have. So before sir and ma'am, before Mr. Balkar leave, I just have a small point which I want you, not a question, it's a comment for you to take up later on. We'll follow up is with this the unrelated. It's where the government is potentially coming with a draft saying that the trust cannot take CSR money, and it's some, and only Section 8 companies can take, which will actually put a lot of foundations like Selco or even Terry's and Pradhans in a very distressful position, because it puts back our 20 years of work if we are not allowed to take CSR money and only Section 8. Just for your point, if it, when we would like your help to push that, and why was it only Section 8 used and not the other trusts were not allowed to actually take that money? But coming back to you, yes, so do you have a comment?
Yeah, no.
So one question
in fact, there's a very important point you have mentioned. Definitely, whenever we get a chance to raise these issues, definitely will be.
Yes, sir. And so to Mr. See, what Mamta ji actually brought out was going back to looking at what we were doing earlier, but also adding to that, the whole concept what she brought out was the decentralized methodologies. Isn't it high time that we converted our ITIs and root sets into the centers of innovation and incubation? Because the question is, if similar subsidies that we gave to IITs were given to ITIs and vocational schools, isn't that our country would actually go much forward? And especially in this crisis, we lay back our importance to such institutions and put in the failure or the R&D money into these organizations where grassroots level innovation picks up, and the country actually takes the way of the whole Gandhian movement as well as the decentralized. A couple of points before we let Mr. Balamurgan go, and sir, and then off to you and to Mamtaji. Sir, he's left.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much again for this meeting, and in fact, I learned few things from my colleague from Karnataka, and some of the points she mentioned is very important, and of course we'll be working on those lines also. And again, I repeat, we have taken note of your input that regarding Section 8 company for CSR will take up at appropriate level. Again, to reiterate what we are trying to do and then what is expected. And then again, I want to make it one thing very clear. As far as our experience goes, we need good partners to work with so many thousands of, in fact, millions of women. It is not possible because we cannot bring in all the expertise which is available. So we bring expertise and other technology and good things from a partner. So this also will affect this particular thing. What you have mentioned will affect bringing in more partners with SRLMs. SRLM flexibility is to have more and more partners to work with. We work with Pradhan also, as you mentioned. Next, in fact, this financially is going to be very interesting and then challenging. Of course, the challenges only gives us opportunities. Whenever you have this kind of situation, you always come out with better solutions. I'm sure, as you have already mentioned, India could be able to fight it out in a better way than developed nations. And then, fortunately, in Bihar also, we have only 65 cases so far, and then only 11 districts got affected. And thanks to, I don't know what other reasons, but from day one I'm involved, we could able to enforce lockdown so strictly, and then our quarantine happened in a extraordinary way. Still, people are living in schools who came from outside. So maybe that is helped, and then I'm sure we'll come out from this situation very quickly. As Mamataji rightly pointed out, this is also helping entire country to have new ways of doing things, like she rightly mentioned about Ghanaian's way of doing things. So we'll be also slightly changing our focus on a few areas, and then taking up those immediate issues which will be uh, available. For example, we are also going to work with, because in Bihar, so many migrant laborers came from other states. And some of the industries are not going to open very quickly, and some of them are going to stay back in Bihar. And we need to provide them with employment opportunities. And we are going to work closely with NREGA implementation. Already, our parent department is willing to give us the right to generate applications for job card, and also generate demand, and then also register the demand through SRLM. We are already doing it in 25 blocks out of 534, and most probably will be taking up in all 534 blocks, because next 5 to 6 months is very crucial, particularly for state like Bihar, where you have lakhs of migrant laborers who will be coming once immediately after lockdown is going to end. Many more are going to come back. We will be handling that also. And that's what I wanted to say. I don't have much to add further. Thank you again. I need to go in another 5 minutes.
Sure.
Sorry for
No
leaving in between.
Absolutely.
I have meeting.
So just to
5
mention, because you're
Yeah.
in Patna, just outside of Patna, we're actually
Yeah.
working with Doctors for You to build a 20 to 25 bed hospital for COVID patients. We
Okay.
basically designed the hospital in a manner that is accessible. It is efficient, using high efficient materials and high efficient equipments. And we are using that as showcase to WHO, and trying and getting some of the countries like Ethiopia, Sierra Leone, Tanzania ready for such design. So we are using Patna kind of the hospital as a model for many of these countries to replicate when the crisis hits. So I'll just ask Amogan to send you some more information on what we're doing.
Where it is in Patna, it's outskirts of Patna.
Yeah, with Doctors for You. Actually, one of my colleague. Where is it?
Okay, I'll
sure,
take
sir,
details later.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. And
thank you, madam.
Masara.
Happy to see you. And I got good inputs from you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Mamtaji, thank you, sir. Mamtaji, just one brief question before we dwell to a little more other questions. This has been an overwhelming situation. Is there something that none, whether private sector, public sector, civil society, would not have even thought about such crises, which in like a tsunami that has hit around the world? It's something that was positive that we come out of this and that you saw?
I see a lot of positive things here.
Sure.
We are having a temporary crisis.
Okay.
I look at this as temporary, but now for the last 20 days, I have had time to be able to sit. I mean, although we're very busy in the war room and everything, I've been thinking seriously about what is that it's teaching us.
Right.
And one thing that it has taught us is we make plans without having a plan B. Right. For any sustainability of anything that we do, we have to have a plan B. And none of my women, it was a shocking thing for me, because most of my women are into small micro enterprises, and none of them had a plan B. So to be able to help them get over this itself was a big challenge. From that I have learned that anything that you do, if this fails, what do we do with this?
Right.
That kind of a planning has to happen. The second thing, as I already mentioned to you, I should not keep repeating myself. I felt that I don't know whether how many of you come from back from villages. Somebody just messaged me saying talk in Kannada, it will help. ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ನಾವು ಹಳ್ಳಿಗಳಿಂದ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇದ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ವಿಷಯ ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಕಾಲ್ ತೊಳಿದಲೆ ಮನೆ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ಲಿ, ಕಾಲು ಕೈ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಯಾವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಒಂದು ಹಂಡೆನಲ್ಲಿ ನೀರು ಏನೋ ಇರ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ನೀವು ಯಾರ್ದೇ ಮನೆ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಎಂಟರ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಕಾಲು ಕೈ ತೊಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ನೀವು ಮುಖ ತೊಳೆದು ಒಳಗಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರಿ. And the first thing that was given to you was water and jaggery. So these are all things that we were doing earlier, and we don't have the habit of touching each other, especially not in Karnataka. We always maintain that distance. ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರನ್ನ ಮುಟ್ಟೋ ಒಂದು ಅಭ್ಯಾಸವನ್ನ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಇದು maybe yes in Punjab and various places, but not here. So many good things that we were practicing earlier, which we had forgotten over the years, now we are getting back to that. ಎರಡನೇದು ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, all along Gandhi told us about self-sustaining villages, and most of us, if you read his literature, it is all about self-sustaining villages. So I feel positively now. I feel, and everybody is looking, and if you realize one thing, the moment this crisis struck, we had more than 5 lakh people moving out of cities into villages. Right. Yeah. Why did they find that villages would be more safe? That's only because the nature alli chennagide, distances ide, ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ distance ಇರುತ್ತೆ, and it may not spread to the villages ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಅನಿಸಿಕೆಯಿಂದ people moved. And in Bangalore, I know more than 1 lakh moved out of villages and into the villages. Okay, idu ಒಂದು. So somewhere I feel that it could be bring about a reverse migration. I look at many people working in the garments wanting to go back now. I will have more women coming into my groups now, forming into my groups. We can always get them to start micro enterprises which will be useful, like for example a sanitary napkin unit. You know, in every alternate gram panchayat, if you can have a small sanitary napkin unit, they have enough market within their own atmosphere. There are small things like a match factory, little match boxes, small things which the villages or 10 villages or maybe a small hobli would require. You know, those kind of things, small cafes. So people will in future would like to remain in their own safe places where they can also have a livelihood. It just showed us countries which had huge amount of money were richest countries. Right. The countries which are considered the most forward in terms of health and hygiene, the countries which were considered most powerful, all of them had gone on their knees.
Absolutely.
So these are all positive things. It showed us that with a will we can do many things. Absolutely. It showed us we can come together as Indians. So these are all the positive things I look at. Okay. And also, as you were talking about this section, Leti, why not corporate, trusts, and why it's only, I think there is already a move, there's already some discussions going on about it. So you may see some difference, but I would say whether the CSR fund goes to a trust or goes to somebody else, finally we require all the partners, NGOs and every other partner 100%. Us and everybody to come together to be able to do something good. So whether the money comes to me or the money comes to you, finally it will have to be spent on a good cause. That is
what is happening. No, why I'm saying that. See, one is 85% of the people now online are from rural areas, and today now to listening to you, but they are mixed between people from Karnataka, Bihar, Jharkhand, and the Northeast. So the audience for you is 85% rural, but a mix. That's why we mixed it in Kannada and English. See, why we are saying trust is basically what we feel what was happening in the Northeast, ma'am, is lot of these community-based trusts will collapse, are going to collapse. That 2 decades of work, because many of them were surviving on CSR money. The question is, there are very few Section 8 companies in the Northeast, they will collapse. So we will lose 2 decades of work if that changes. And that is why we were raising. It was not coming to some person or say, yes, the work will happen, but we would have also lost 2 decades of work of many of these institutions. And this is a skills that we as a country should not lose. I mean,
I think there is quite a bit of talk already. I think a lot of representations have gone, and government
so coming
is looking at it. I'm sure. And that apart,
coming back to this, ma'am, in the sense that I don't know how much Amog has spoken, Amog and Sudipta have spoken to you. There's some questions that have, yes, Selco's most of the 2.5 decades of work has happened in Karnataka, and we really would like to. What is the next stage for one of the questions that was raised in how effectively will the state vocational skill training be looked at right now in after?
That was an excellent point that was raised. I also feel that the ITIs and RCETs should be strengthened, and all this should be channelized through RTIs. I mean, I would look at ITIs and RCETs becoming incubation centers. Right. In fact, we are going to proceed in that direction. In fact, I don't know, I think the Secretary Skill Development has already sent some circulars out to all the ITIs. And we will be looking at RCETs from NRLM. And instead of IITs, we would be looking at ITIs. And we are going to set up a center of excellence, which will actually work on innovations. And this will be, incubation innovation centers. That is what we are looking at. That is a very good point you raised. And that is something that we are already looking forward to.
So just to brief you, Mamtaji, we under the Atal Innovation Mission, we've set up an Atal Innovation Incubation Center in Guwahati under the Government of India. And we really want to set that up in India, in Karnataka, with a lot of the ITIs, where we have pushed saying that ITIs were responsible, and along with RootSets, were responsible for the agricultural revolution, along with the Grameen banks. We need to go back to that fundamentals of, if we have to develop society, ITI vocational schools, along with the RRBs and with SRLM, the third leg is where the development of a country or the world is actually going to happen.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you totally on this. And that is also my wave of thought too.
We have 600 of us in the Selco India, and which is a social enterprise which is owned by 3 not-for-profits, ma'am, and one is the Selco Foundation, which looks at innovation in these, and especially picked up North Karnataka as a focus, Bihar and Northeast. Any advice to us? We are here. We have a strong ground presence, and all the academic partners that we work with, we really want to be a partner. Advice to the
definitely. I would advise you all to actually start working in terms of coming up with proposals, and that is where the start is, because the way forward, as I've already told you, in the north, we are also concentrating a lot on North Karnataka. In fact, Raichur and Yadgir, we've been concentrating quite a bit on Yadgir and Raichur and Gulbarga. And the coming days, our focus will be more on these 6-7 districts. And we're also setting up something called the North Karnataka. I don't know whether you know, HKDB is already there. So in the HKDB, we will be setting up an innovation center also. So,
ma'am, the first chairman of HKDB is actually our managing trustee, B.R. Prabhakara, who was the Chief Secretary of Karnataka.
I have worked with Mr. Prabhakaran actually. He was the advisor of to the governor of Karnataka during the president rule, and I was working with him at that point of time.
Okay. So one last question before we let you go, ma'am, is I'm sure we're going to have a lot of. You talked about. I mean, the question that one of my colleagues has asked, that women are the major sufferers in this crisis because of loss of job. Is there a specific role or for women institutions, women-led schemes that will come out that will actually focus on gender, especially that we could then replicate it in other states or other countries?
I work only with women. I'm sure you're aware of it. SRLM, we
Yeah,
work only with
that's
women.
exact. Right.
So, what I would suggest, I mean, to make a long thing short, our annual action plan is ready.
Okay. Oh, very nice. Okay.
We'll be just tweaking it a little bit, because we have to make a lot of changes, because COVID has given us a lot of opportunities.
Absolutely.
There are many challenges in what we've already put up. So looking at the opportunities and the positives that have come out of all this, we will be changing our plans to a certain extent.
Sure.
Once that is ready, we will share it with all of you. I'm
Thank you,
sure
ma'am.
all of you, we look for partners from various places. We have done this time, I have gone very deeply into every part of the action plan. And for every district, we've made plans. So you can have a look at it, come with proposals. We'll be very happy to partner with. And I'm looking at, see, women, as you said, will be major sufferers, but women will also take the lead to make a lot of change. There'll be a lot of change in the coming days. There'll be revolutionary kind of changes that will happen, and I'm sure the women will lead all this. So I will be sharing my action plan with you, and I'm sure all of you who are listening to me today can always come and give us a proposal on what you want to do with us.
I'm glad you picked
Good
up
ideas. In fact, I was coming to this meeting looking for ideas and looking for suggestions. I'm sure that didn't happen. So we'll be looking forward to mails, and my mail ID is I just make my mail ID available to all of you. So I'd like to get some ideas from all of you too. I'm
Absolutely.
just putting it in the chat. So I'll be looking for a lot of ideas and a lot of proposals from all of you.
Sure, we've and that too, we picked up, ma'am, the very districts that you mentioned is our next 5 to 8 year strategy, along with and we have mapped those 8 districts to match with UN's SDG goals of 2030, saying that what can we do to meet those. This was before the crisis. Now, after the crisis, we have created village care centers for 1,000 villages and 300 women business associates, and many of them in the districts that you mentioned. We didn't have much time to go over some of those, and a lot of the innovations have been in the agri and the livelihood space. Reworking on rice mills, reworking on threshers, reworking on rope making machines. How do we inculcate technology, innovate, lessen drudgery, solar powered pottery making machines, solar powered roti rolling machines? So these are all that we have pushed for, and these are the 8 districts that we have chosen. Anyhow, even before the crisis, to match with the UN's 2030 goals. This is something that I would like some of my colleagues to come and present, because we are putting in a lot of financial resources also, ma'am, and that's exactly why I believe, because government is the biggest channel of scale up.
Once this whole thing is over, I would like you to come and meet me sometime. Some of you can come and meet me. We can have a discussion and then.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming today, ma'am. I know it's a busy time. It's an honor for us to listen to you, and I'm sure this is a great inspiration to a lot of my colleagues who are listening to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mamta ma'am. Thank you so much for coming today. Just to tell you that Shalini Rajneesh madam also joined us just the last week, and we all of us actually met in the, if I'm not wrong, the Raichur, Ballari district, and we had a meeting under the SDGs just the last 6 months back, when you, I, and Anand was there as well. And that is when you also got us the SDGs, and the UNDP program kicked off. And I think Selco was selected as one of the 8 projects which was forwarded to UNDP through the planning department. And if you remember, we met that time with me, you, and Anand.
Yes. I remember very clearly. Yes.
Thank you.
I remember.
Thank you. We will also get back to you with the proposals and the ideas, ma'am. Definitely, we will get back to you with more ideas on how to tackle the post-COVID scenario in Karnataka.
Thank you. Sure. Thank you very much.